Welcome to East by West Farms. Here we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Today I'm going to do some seedings for spring and summer crops. We are in US Agriculture Zone 8B, and this is early February. So we are not fully out of frost danger yet. We could have frost in middle March, around that time. But you can actually start to doing some planting. For the vegetable plants, you can actually divide it into 4 categories. One is the cool season vegetable. These are kind of like a coriander or maybe even radish, and peas, for example. These are the plants that can take light frost. We're at US Agriculture Zone 8B. So in March, we might still get some frost, and in the countryside, in the farm here, since we're about 2 or 3 degrees lower than in the city. So if in the city, say we get around just above freezing, over here actually we will get frost. The cool weather plants like coriander and the peas, we can put it in the ground. They will, when the weather is warm, they will sprout. As long as they establish the root, a little bit light frost, they can take it. So that's not a problem. So that's one group, is that cool season plant that can take some frost. You can sow it directly in the ground now. The second category is the seeds that need stratification. This kind of like some melons and, for example, the Chinese okra, or bitter melon, they don't sprout easily. They need some kind of go through some cool season and the stratification. So usually people will put them in a sandbag and put it in the refrigerator for that. It's kind of messy though. So what I have been doing is actually I will take these seeds and put it in the ground now. So they still experience some cold weather, and they might get frost, but you cover them with mulch. And so they let the Mother Nature to do the stratification for me. Over here, you can see that I got basically a mix of seeds in a box. These are the seeds actually I collected from this vegetable or fruit we ate. So this is a jujube date seeds that I have not been able to sprout it. So this is why I want to try it, to use the Mother Nature to do the stratification for me. Of course, I have pumpkins and wax melon and bitter melon. And I also had some Chinese okra seeds over here. I only have a few, so I will do half of it for the stratification and half of put in the refrigerator. So those are the ones need stratification. You can put it in the ground now, but to make sure you mulch it well so that it doesn't sprout when the weather is nice, and then you have a light frost, and that will kill it. The third category is the plants that you can seed indoor, and then transplant them when the frost danger is gone. This includes, for example, the tomatoes, and I have some flowers, tomatoes, peppers, eggplants. So that's the main staple for me. I have all kinds of different peppers and different tomatoes. For this year, I'm going to also try some flowers. Since we have the farm, usually I don't plant flower because we have limited planting space in the home garden. But in the farm, we have plenty of space, so I'm going to put some flower seeds down as well. So those are the third group that you can seed it indoor or in a greenhouse, so that you get a little bit, maybe a few weeks ahead of the schedule as compared to you sow it directly under the ground or in the ground. Another thing you could do is actually when you prune your fruit trees and all that stuff, you can get hardwood cuttings and then plant it directly in the ground. Now you can do that. So I have got this from peach tree that from home. So I'm going to put this in the berm of the swales that we dug last summer. So hopefully some of them, probably not all of them, but some of them will take roots, and we will get some peach tree growing started in the farm. The fourth categories are the legume family that require warm temperature to sprout, and also do not like transplant. The beans and the soybeans, the edamame, for example, corn. These plants, they don't like the roots get disturbed. So you cannot. It's usually not recommended that you seed them indoor and then transplant them outside because they don't like the transplant. So for those plants, you actually have to wait until the weather is warm and the ground is warm. So usually that will be around April, March, end of March, early April kind of time frame for that. At this point, the first three category we can start to work on. So that's what I'm going to work on this weekend. To plant the peas, the trench, just like last time, and then I just drop the peas, space them about 6. And then just cover it with dirt. For now, I will just very lightly so they could get the sun, and so the soil gets warm up when the sun shines on it. And so next week, I will see if they have sprouted. If they have sprouted, then I will cover it with the hay so that the hay will protect roots. Over here, instead of digging a trench, I essentially just use the pickaxe. So here I have a small patch over. I dug it up. So I'm going to plant some coriander, which is also cilantro. Basically, the seeds of the cilantro is called coriander. So I'm going to just broadcast over here. Another thing I will try is the quinoa seeds, and this also cold vegetable or cool season vegetable that can take. So for the coriander, the same thing, I just spread it around. Here is a pile of semi-decomposed wood chips mixed with some for the leaves. So I'm going to use this as the growth medium for the seeds that need to be stratified. Here is a box of mixed seeds I have that I collected from either the vegetable we ate or the fruit we ate. So there are some pumpkin seeds, wax melon, jujube dates, and just a bunch of seeds that I collected. To plant this, I'm just actually going to just grab a bunch of seeds and spread it around. So that's going to be quite dense, obviously, and just lightly mulch it, kind of ruffle the surface so that they are slightly covered instead of just exposed completely out. Make sure I have a few bitter melons as well. I got the seeds worked into the compost here, and next I'm just going to cover it with the straws. To mark this this pile that I just seeded, I just take my 2x4 cut off and write down the seeds I put it down, and then I just put it on top of the pile. So that way I will remember what I have over here. Otherwise I will forget about it. Another area I will put the seeds for stratification is this strip that right underneath the roof of the deck. And obviously the deck collects the water and drop it down in this area. So this area gets pretty good moist. And I have been covering it with straw through the winter. So the soil should kind of loosen up a little bit. And what I will do is just separate the straw, put the seeds down there, and then cover it back up with the straw. Another thing you can plant around this time is the hardwood cuttings. because the temperature, the temperature is probably not warm enough. So for indoor planting, ideally you either plant it indoor or you have a greenhouse or something like that, so that you can warm up the soil for the seeds to sprout. What I have here is basically the egg cartons, and I believe this is from Walmart. So I saved the egg cartons. It has a very nice clear plastic, and I also saved the eggshells to use that as the planting holder. So what I'm going to do is just fill up these eggshells with soil and then put the seeds in there, and then I will close it off. So that kind of create a greenhouse environment for the seeds to sprout. The planting medium I use is basically the semi-decomposed the wood chips and some native soil that mix with hay. So this way it keeps the moisture well. So I got the sweet banana pepper here. So I just drop 1 or 2 per planting box, or 2 or 3 per planting box, or eggshell, and push them down in the soil. Just cover it. Make sure they are covered. The soil is pretty moist, so I may not need to water them. And it's actually raining now, so I may just leave it under the rain for a little while, and that will get it. So that's basically one planting box. I put it in a box like this, so it will get the afternoon sun. When I put it facing the west or the south, I get morning sun, and then it should sprout in a week or so. And the final thing I need to do is write down over here what I have put in there. So this is sweet banana pepper. I only have 4 of the plastic egg cartons that can use as the greenhouse. So what I'm going to do is to put what I did is put this paper egg carton in the tofu box and then put in this tray. So just like over here, I filled it up with the garden soil or just planting medium, and then I put seeds in there. I will put all these trays in one place and cover it with plastic. So that way it will keep it moist and warm. So that's create an ideal environment for the seeds to sprout. I get 4 boxes of seasoning over here. I'm going to, even though the soil is moist, I'm still going to water it and then cover it with plastic top. So hopefully by next weekend when I come here, I should see some plants already sprouted already. But it's getting dark, and this is what it looked like after I covered with the plastic. So hopefully it will work out, and I will see some seeds sprouting next weekend. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumb up button. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button to follow our journey with the East by West farms.